It's McKenzie Atwood. Welcome to the Steven Universe podcast. This is our special behind-the-scenes look at the new Steven Universe episode, The Big Show. So I have Dee Dee Magno-Hall, who voices Pearl, Michaela Dietz, the voice of Amethyst, and Shelby Rivara, who voices Peridot. Thank you guys for coming back and talking to me again.
Thanks for having us back.
Of course. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So today we're talking about The Big Show. This was a fun episode. What'd you guys think?
Love the style.
Yeah,
Love that camcorder.
It's
footage.
so funny because I was watching it with my husband last night, and he was like, "I don't think it's mixed yet. I think it's there's something wrong with the sound." or something.
come on, bro.
I'm like, on purpose.
You're like, this was a choice.
Aesthetic.
It was.
Yeah. It's like having an Instagram filter, you know? Like, you do it for that aesthetic.
Right.
I love it.
I love it,
And
too.
I love that they keep using this, like, it's the same camcorder, the one that it's the one that Steven used, or that Greg used when he filmed that tape for Steven with Rose.
Oh,
For
Way
Nora.
back then.
still works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of those tapes. Yeah, exactly. It's the same exact camcorder, and they sort of have that same through line. But this is the first time we've seen a whole episode with it, which is crazy.
And is it crazy to the listeners out there to say this is actually what a camcorder looked like when you know we were growing up? It wasn't clear, and it was a little fuzzy, and it wasn't stabilized. So
But it still works.
It still
they
works.
don't make things
And the
the way-
colors
like they used
were
to.
like that weird kind
muted
of bright,
that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, I love that it was like explained in universe too. Like Steven himself made this choice. He was like, you know, I could record this on my phone and it would be like fine, but I got to get those old timey vibes. You know, it's
Well,
key.
Steven, kudos to you because you achieved it.
Yes.
He's an artistic genius, honestly. Like underrated for sure. And I really loved. This is another episode where we got to see Sadie. Which, first of all, Sadie is good always.
Yeah.
But Sadie's whole band, you know, which I love.
The Suspects.
What do you guys think about that? Sadie Killer and the Suspects, yeah.
Guys, can we make a friendship pact? Can we all go to a Sadie Killer and the Suspects concert together?
I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Mackenzie, you're invited.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yes, please. Everybody's invited.
I will be there. Honestly, like, I would love to go, though, because those shows look crazy. All the visuals, man, like, they really went all in.
Yeah.
Like,
Sour
she
cream's
was really
lasers.
dangling from a rope, you know? Like,
Yikes. Yeah.
they did that.
Probably a harness was involved.
Yes.
Yeah. There's got to be a harness in there, but
How did she get clicked in, though? I never saw the clicking of the harness.
Don't worry, Dee Dee.
just-
Safety
magic.
first.
Yeah, don't worry.
Magic.
They were really safe when they shot this.
There was a certified EMT just off stage.
Yes. Fire department, everything.
Thank goodness.
yeah, we're all good. I rewatched this yesterday, and I noticed a detail that was fun. It was like when Sadie like falls down at the end. She's like, you know, supposed to be a ghost or whatever back in I think it's like a coffin or something. And she like falls down and she sort of goes limp, but she still has her mic in her hand.
I know what you're going
And she doesn't want it to like land on the floor and like make that huge mic thud thing.
The mic drop.
So she turns it off before
know.
she sets it down.
So smart.
I noticed that.
So mindful.
And I think that, you know, that's a total nod to the writers and the
Yes.
storyboarders. Just that awareness.
The
that,
borders, yeah.
You know, like, you know, there's awareness like when you're watching something and you're like, oh, wait, how did that happen? But I think really the crew universe really thinks about every single specific and the
Every
awareness
character.
and and it's so specific, like even like, you know, what they're wearing, what they would do, how to react. So it's just really, really talented writing on we just lend our voices, but they really allow us, they give us a story to play, and it's so tight. The story writing is so tight.
Yeah.
They think of everything, and that's what makes an episode so enjoyable.
Yeah, it's the little things, you know, and I think that it's fun thinking about, too, like, what happened behind the scenes. I mean, like, within the universe of the show, like, did Sadie, like, during rehearsal just drop it at some point? And, like, there was a giant thud, and they were like, okay, well, we're definitely not doing that in the real thing. Like, we need to fix that right now, you know?
Right.
Or, like, you know, when you're watching a show or like a theatrical show and people don't, the mic mixing is off and you hear the performers go, whoa, wait, my costume changed. It could have been, I think that would be a really interesting story or a question to ask.
We should.
To be like, where that specific one.
Good call.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was Hillary and Amber.
Amber, yep.
So we should get them in there and be like, who thought of that?
Right.
It has their sense of humor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so good.
It's just...
Well, so speaking of borders, Lamar voices Buck Dewey, and his performance in this episode is so funny. Where he's just like, I love enthusiasm.
I love enthusiasm. There were a lot of great moments. Like the Buck voice, he just switches on like a switch, and it's crazy. It's so good.
Yeah.
The whole persona, honestly.
I love when characters that we don't normally see together get time to bond. For example, Greg and Sadie in this episode. They have some really touching moments.
Yeah, there were those sweet moments where Sadie was having all those problems with her, like her mom like
right,
being overbearing or something. Yeah.
Oh, Barb.
Being like not wanting her to go to the show, but then she ended up wanting her to go to the show. And I just like loved the parental advice from Greg, because like he's like such a good dad. Mm-hmm. Even the people who he's not their dad, he's still their dad. You know, like he's still the designated dad. Like,
but he's like a friend
there's always
dad.
One. Yeah,
because he's not talking down to her at all. I feel like they really were relating as peers almost. He just happens.
She was like,
yes,
that's a good point. He was being real. Like there wasn't any. He wasn't being like patronizing or anything, which is refreshing too. But he's really good about that.
Yeah.
Even when we see Steven being like when he's younger, he's still talking to him like like a friend rather than little guy.
Yeah, that sort of solidifies the whole relationship, a parent and a child relationship, where sometimes kids don't really hear what their parents are trying to tell them until they hear it from somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I loved that whole dynamic with Greg and Sadie, how he's kind of telling it how it is, and how he so wished that his parents were supportive, and now she's got this mother who's super supportive, but she doesn't want to have anything to do with, you know what I mean? So I just I try to keep that into account when I talk to my kids, because I want to be their friend too,
I've seen you interact with your children. I think you're their friend in certain instances, for sure.
I'm pretty sure they think I'm weird.
Is it because you wear unicorn onesies around your home?
That might be it.
I mean, to be fair, unicorn onesie, like I can see why they might think that.
What are you talking about? It's the coolest thing, the coolest outfit I own.
Okay, well, I didn't say it's not. It's definitely cool. It's definitely a statement, but it doesn't mean it's like it's not normal.
No,
it's not just it's statement. That's the point. That's the point. I think that another fun thing, or I mean, not necessarily a fun thing, but another thing that I really enjoyed from this episode that kind of made me sad was when she thought that Sunshine Justice was her mom. Yeah. And she was at the end of it, she was so excited to go see her.
You see?
And then it wasn't her, and it was like,
you see?
Oh, like, oh no.
I know. Then all of a sudden,
my heart is breaking.
It's hard. It's hard growing up. Like, to be what people think of as a kid, but you feel like an adult or a young adult. And there's a really fine line there. And so I think sometimes when you're growing up, you think, oh, I don't need my parents. I'm old enough. I don't need them. But even when you're adult, like, you need your mom and your dad, and you want to tell them that you love them. And I mean, there's so many waves to being an adult, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's where that whole you live and learn comes from, because you might think that, hello.
Hi.
You might think you know everything, and then, I remember my mom telling me growing up, I just cannot wait until you have your own kids. And my mom would say that to me, and I literally, even now, more recently, I always tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, I get it. I get it now. I understand. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I get it now.
Yeah. But, live and learn.
Yeah, and I think this episode really, again, without like, shoving it down the audience's throat, it's emotional in that way. And it makes the audience and people watching it really become internal and think about their own relationships with their moms and dads. Again, in this vehicle of animation.
Yeah.
And that's like what's so amazing is it's not shoved down your throat, but after watching it, you're like, you feel for each character. It's like such a specific feeling, and relationships are being defined in every second you watch any of these episodes, which is like mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And that's why every time I'm even like, I'm sitting next to you guys and you guys voice certain characters, but when we watch these episodes, I feel like I'm outside of it. In this, like I know what's happening, but I'm not, I'm more watching as like, oh, that's right, that did happen. Because I'm so emotionally invested seeing it as a whole, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a different perspective, yeah.
My son saw the episode before I saw
This
it.
one?
Yeah, he saw the big show before I saw it. And then you know what? He was much nicer, I think, after watching.
I mean, I came away from that at being like, oh, wow, I'm so lucky to have parents who support me in my creative endeavors when the chances of being able to not like make it in VO, but work as being a working voiceover actor, it's stacked against you. So yeah. Okay, love to all our parents.
Yes.
Call
Shouts
your
out.
mother.
Do it.
And your father.
Yeah. Do both. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Listen and subscribe to the Steven Universe podcast now at Apple Podcasts, and please remember to leave us a 5-star rating and review while you're there. And watch the new Steven Universe episodes now on the Cartoon Network app. I'm McKenzie Atwood, and I will see you next Tuesday.